Everyone, welcome in. Welcome in. I am so sorry about the schedule in the change or the change in the schedule. Yeah, something like that. We are going live now. Normally, I go live at 6 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, and I did not realize that when I scheduled tonight's live, that I reused some old settings from when I've had to move my lives around a little bit. So I am so sorry, you guys. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me and being ready to get going well before I am. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm Tammy. I'm the Siberian Wind. I was not quite ready to go live just yet, so you guys will have to bear with me. I'm going to have to move some stuff around and do a little bit of shifting so that we are ready for everything that I need to do tonight. So I am so sorry about that. So sorry about the delay and the miscommunication. So thank you guys for being here. I see that Katie from Greenland Quilter is in the chat. Andrea from Mama J Enterprises is in the chat. Sherry is here as well. And let's see, I've got Joyce here as well. And Chloe has just joined in as well. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Let's see. Joyce said she's going to be in and out making bread. No worries. Katie was saying that she was going to go feed Nora, so I get it if she's not here right now. Sherry, I love it. Joyce, do you have a smell good button? Right? I love it. I would love to have a smell good button right now. And thank you, Andrea. She said she would be here as soon as she could. She said, tell you that a little birdie told her that she was working on a quilt block tonight. Yes, I am. Candace has joined the chat. She says hello from Georgia. Welcome in, Candace. Glad you made it in. All right, so let me do a little bit of reorganizing. Please tell me what you guys are working on tonight. We are going to be working on a block from Andrea's quilt that I am testing for her. Donnell has joined the. Let me get this lollipop before my puppy gets it. All right, I'm gonna bring these over just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I have a cream swirl strawberry shortcake and a cream swirl orange creamsicle gourmet lollipops. I've had them for a couple of months. Still haven't touched them. So yeah, they're there. All right. Donnell says that she's packaging orders so she can get all of them shipped out tomorrow. That's awesome. All right. And Katie just said she is back now as well. Oh, you guys are awesome. So bear with me just a little bit more. I know I'm up and down, and I am so sorry for that. I really did not plan to be going live right now. So bear with me just a second. I do need to grab one thing that is way off camera, and I need to grab the infamous chew bone that will get loud later if we are not careful. All right, so those are now out of the way. I am going to talk about a few things, and because I went live in a rush because it's my fault, it's a technically challenging Tuesday. It is technical. It is a technology challenge day. I've been on the phone for the last hour and a half. Kind of, Donnell, she asked, did I hit the button too early? Yes and no. Right, Andrea, thank you. She's like, I'm glad I messaged Tammy. So when I schedule my lives, frequently I reuse previous settings. For this live, when I went to schedule it, apparently it was 4:50 in the afternoon when I scheduled it, and for some reason YouTube picked that time instead of picking my normal 6 p.m. time. So you guys have been hanging out waiting on me when I didn't even realize you guys were there. So you guys got here before me, so you guys win the prize tonight. You guys absolutely do. All right, so with that hang on, I'm losing my light and losing my stand, so bear with me. Let me move this around. You guys see this quilt up on the wall? This is my client's quilt. I've got a long way to go before it is ready. Laura has joined the chat. Welcome in, Laura. Welcome, welcome. All right, so that is still in progress. I still have pieces and parts. They are down here behind me. The snafu with the lime green triangles that go on the outside of the blocks that go like right here and right here. Those, I've got all the triangles cut. I just have to do a lot more sewing and pressing, and I've needed a few breaks. So I was not expecting to need breaks. Apparently, I think I'm superhuman. So, but I do need breaks, and that has come into play in trying to get this together. So I do have everything that I need for it. The only thing that I've got left to do is I have figured out how I'm going to do my border, the pointed border around the outside edges. I have sent this preview to my client. They've already given me the thumbs up that this looks good. So we are on a roll, and all I've got left to do is do a whole bunch more of them. So I've got the blocks, just got to finish getting the lime green triangles on, get everything trimmed, get some more sashing and cornerstones cut, and get those, all assembled. And that's all that's left, aside from the borders. So the borders will not be that big of a deal compared to just fixing the snafu that I caused. Okay, so that being said, today's Tuesday. Okay, it is a technically challenging Tuesday. By that, I have had problems with my computer. We have had problems with my insurance and the insurance people's computer system operated phone system, my insurance company's computer system, and the pharmacy's computer system. Everybody has had computer system issues today. So I know that there is a presidential debate going on tonight. That's my understanding, is that there is a debate tonight. So fully expect I can't talk. Fully expect someone to stutter tonight, and fully expect there to be computer problems somewhere in the world other than just in my little circle tonight. Okay, so with that being said, my other technical challenge is I do not have the Google form set up for registration, but as soon as we get off this live tonight, I will set that Google form up so you guys will be able to register for the retreat. With the retreat, Zoom only allows a 24-hour block at one time. So what I have done is I have made 2 separate retreats. So there will be a Saturday retreat and a Sunday retreat. The only thing that I have to ask is please don't enter the Saturday retreat before time. And I will close the Sunday retreat before my live Sunday night. But after or around midnight my time, the Zoom will swap over, or should swap over. I will try my best to be there in the Zoom chat when it is swapping over to give everyone the link to go into the new Zoom for Sunday Zoom. So if you are participating or want to participate in the Zoom retreat, that is September 28th and 29th. It is the last Saturday and Sunday here in September, okay? And it is a full overnight retreat. You come hang out for as long as you feel like. So hang out, chat, catch up, all of that kind of stuff. Leave if you need to. Go fix dinner, go out with hubby, family, friends, whatever. Come back, come back to the next retreat. All of that, okay? So Thursday is when we are going to start the bauble quilt. And this is what the bauble quilt looks like. This is the basic gist of the bauble quilt. You are going to have, it is kind of like a yin-yang setup. So if you see this teal here, it's going here, and then it's going here and going off the quilt. So you could follow the teal all the way up. You can go across here. You can rotate this quilt. So you can have everything going down differently, or you can have it going sideways. So what you need for this quilt And you can make this any size you like, okay? You are going to need, and I'm going to show you the colors I'm using. Okay, these are mom's colors for baby. So these are the colors we are using. So we are using a navy blue, and this has gold sparkles in it. This is actually one of the fabrics that came from the previous 2 quilts for the 2 big sisters. So this is in big sister's quilt with the purple, and this is in middle sister's quilt with the coral. So she has both of this fabric in both of those quilts. And there is also this dark navy as well that has a lot of silver sparkle on it. This one is a new fabric. This was not in big sister or middle sister's quilt. These fabrics, these navies, are going to go where these light gray diamonds go into the quilt, and it is going to go in where these medium grays are here in this quilt. Okay, so this is a very small version. I am starting out with a yard of each of these, so we're going to see how far it goes and go from there. I do not have my exact measurements for it. I have not had a chance to sit still long enough to do anything other than sew and cut. So my prep for this has been a little delayed, but this is the overall gist of the quilt. I am going to be cutting mine using an AccuQuilt cutter. Okay, I will give you instructions. If you do not have an AccuQuilt cutter, a studio cutter, or you do not have or want to spend money on the die in order to be able to cut these exact shapes, I will give you instructions on how to cut a very similar shape. Okay, so you will need a value for, if you want to do this quilt, you will need a value for these grays here, and you will need a value for the fill-in background color. Can I cut it out with AccuQuilt? Yes, I can. My die, let me grab my die. Let me get off camera real quick, guys. Let me grab my die, because I need to grab something else while I'm up too. So I'm going to go ahead and grab both of them for this set. Now, I will have to look and see if these are available for the Go or Baby. If they are, I will give you the numbers for the Go and the Baby. I have a studio cutter. So you should be able to cut these out with an AccuQuilt if I can find the numbers, and I will get you the numbers. Okay? If you do have a studio die, if you're a studio cutter, and you want to make this exact quilt using these exact measurements, you are looking at dies 50148 and 50149. Okay? So I'm going to put those numbers in the chat. That way you guys will have it. And I don't know if somebody has a chance to look at the AccuQuilt site. This is one of the things I was going to do before the live, so I apologize. That was what I was going to look at, in addition to also setting up the registration form. So that's why I'm a bit flustered. It's not you guys' fault. It is definitely mine. It is my technically challenged Tuesday. But those are the studio die numbers. If there is an AccuQuilt die for it, as soon as I have that, I will look it up, or I will put it in there. Okay. So if somebody does want to look it up and see if they offer it as a regular die, you absolutely can. And if they don't, I do have a way I can issue out the pattern, and you guys will just have to bear with me, okay? So I do apologize that I'm running behind and running delayed with this, but those are the 2 dies. So it is a chisel die. You guys can see that layout. It is a block with a point at it at the end. And then the other die is a triangle. Now, I will guarantee you they will have this triangle shape. that one will be on there. I don't have the exact measurements on here. It does not tell me. But I'm not sure if they've got the chisel. I would think that they would in a regular AccuQuilt cutter. But you guys will have to give me a little bit to look that up. So I do apologize. All right, the other fabrics that I am going to use is, this baby is also going to be coral and navy. Okay, so I chose 2 different corals, and let me grab the machine camera so you guys can see these fabrics kind of up close. Let me make sure that this camera is positioned because I've had to move my machine too, so I apologize. All right, there we go. All right, so this is one of the fabrics. It does not show up very well at all. I am shocked. These should show up pretty darn good. Okay, so this is a coral that has circles on it. And then this one is kind of a mottled color. But it is, Chloe says, no problem, I would look now, but I'm cooking. Yeah, no worries. I will get it after the live. So that is fine. That and setting up the retreat sign up are my 2 top priorities as soon as the live is over. So these 2 corals, one is that circles, one is the mottled fabric. All of these all of these 6 fabrics came from Joann's, okay? So my navy is going to be my background and my gray fill-in. One coral, this coral is going to be, Joyce says, okay, what have I missed? Running back and forth. You are good, Joyce. You are good. You have missed how technically unprepared I was for today. I shouldn't have actually started the live for another like 15 minutes at least. But somewhere in the technology world, I had a snafu, and I scheduled the live earlier than what I intended to be. So you guys were on and waiting for me, and I didn't even know it. So you haven't missed anything of any major importance. I will be getting the Zoom retreat registration form up after this live. Because I had to jump on in a hurry because I didn't realize you guys were here waiting for me. I did not have a chance to get the Zoom live going. So that is for September 28th and 29th. So you will have plenty of time to sign up for it. So do not panic. It is not first come, first serve. So you will not be bumped for any reason. But I will have that registration form up as soon as possible after the live tonight. This is what we are doing on starting on Thursday. This is the bauble quilt. This is my first sample of this bauble quilt. I have made it, oh gosh, 1, 2, 4 or 5, 6 times. I mean, I've made it a lot of times now. And it comes out gorgeous every single time, and the colorways make a difference. So what I have is I have a yard of each of my fabrics that I'm using. So on the other coral colorway, I'm using a polka dot. And I'm using this very pinky color with lots of different dotted prints on it. So I took the backing fabric with me when I went to Joann's to go get these fabrics. And yeah, I took the backing with me and just kind of compared it. So one of these blues, like the blue, is going to be one of the shades of coral, and the teal is going to be the other shade of coral, and then my grays are going to be my navy blues. Okay, so I've got a yard of each, and we'll see how large it makes it. I think this is plenty. This is 6 yards of fabric, so I think it will be more than enough to make a very large quilt. But I'm mainly trying to go for a crib size. I apologize, guys. I am trying to go for a crib size quilt. Now, I am going to be cutting mine again on an AccuQuilt Studio cutter. So I have the ones with the wooden base on it for mine. And the die numbers are in the chat, 50148 and 50149. If those are available in an AccuQuilt die, not a studio die, I am also going to be looking that up, and I will put that information in the description box below this video. And I will also be getting our videos uploaded so that you guys can go ahead and turn your notifications on for the Thursday series. This Thursday series is going to be a little different on the timing. The last couple I've started at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This time I don't have that freedom. We're going to have to go at 10 o'clock in the morning, Mountain Standard Time, so that is noon Eastern. So if you guys cannot make it to the live, just come back and watch the replay. That is perfectly fine. Absolutely leave me questions, leave me comments, whatever you need. I will come I will come look at the comments. I have had doctor's appointments and all kinds of things schedule themselves on top of everything for me, and I have not had a chance. Joy says, sorry, no AccuQuilt. No worries. AccuQuilt gave me some guidance on how I could issue out a pattern. So I will have to wait until the end of... I apologize, guys. He is going to cause me grief today. Please stop, sir. Thank you. Okay. So I can issue a pattern out for this quilt, but I have to wait until the entire tutorial series is done. So if you guys see the tutorial series and you do want the pattern, I can issue the pattern. I am going to have to put it, I believe, with a charge in order to qualify for issuing the pattern out, but that doesn't mean that I have to charge a lot. So what I'm looking at is like $1. $1 for the pattern for this, guys, and you get the information that you need in order to be able to cut those shapes in the exact same size. I will also, during the tutorial series, if you guys do not have an AccuQuilt or do not intend to buy an AccuQuilt Studio or get these dies or anything along those lines, I will have an alternate instruction set for you so that you do not have to purchase it, okay? So I'm not going to turn this into a purchase only pattern. That's not fair. That's not what I told you guys I would be doing. So you guys will be getting a free version. Judy is here. Welcome in, Judy. You guys will be getting a free version of it one way or the other. And if you want the exact same measurements, that one I would have to charge for, just so that I can clear everything that I have to do with AccuQuilt in order to issue the pattern, okay? And like I said, just I'm thinking $1. You know, it's just enough to notate that I issued that one with the AccuQuilt notations I had to do. So yeah, there's that. Are you done, sir? Are you done? Are you done? Okay, he's done, I think. Okay, I apologize, you guys. All right, so let's get going with what I'm actually going to do tonight. If you guys are ready for that, let me also... Okay, I don't know what all that is. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. Bear with me just a second, because again, this is a little bit earlier than my normal. All right, and we are going to turn the headset off so I don't have it going off during the live. Okay, we are good. We are good. All right. Technology Challenging Tuesday is definitely not for the faint of heart. All right, you guys. So here's what we're going to do. You guys get to see a preview. Preview. You ready? Pam is here. Welcome in, Pam. Welcome, welcome. All right, you guys. This is the printout of the pattern that I am doing of Andrea's. So Mama J Enterprises, this is one of her patterns. Andrea, if you want to put the pattern name in there, you can, absolutely. If you want to keep it a secret, we will keep it a secret. That is fine with me. This is the pattern that I have selected to do of Andrea's. So if you guys see, there are 6 of each of the blocks. Some of the blocks are duplicated blocks in a different colorway. So there is a total of 6 blocks across and 6 blocks down. So a total of 36 blocks go into this quilt. She has listed the pattern as a queen size pattern. A lot of super cute, beautiful, and pretty, beautiful. Yes, absolutely right, you guys. I love this pattern. It is gorgeous. So this pattern is a little large for what I want to do with it. I am going to turn this into a quilt of valor because I do need one. I've got a veteran who is waiting for a quilt right now. So I need to turn this into a quilt of valor. So what I'm going to do is we are going to do this as it is written, so that way we can verify all of the stuff we need to verify for Miss Andrea. And we will have a picture session with the quilt top, all of that kind of stuff. And then I will come in and take one of these rows off, and that will bring it down to the correct size for a quilt of valor. And so that row will probably go on the back of the quilt as an accent row. So there are 36 total blocks, so 30 blocks will be on the front when I finish it for a quilt of valor. So that's how it will come out to be quilted. And so all of these colors will be red, white, and blue. They're not going to be kind of modeled colors like what she's got here in the printout. They are going to be very, very bold. So you guys will get to see kind of how this translates into a fabric version. All right. Oh, Samantha Savage, I think first time I've seen you in my chat. Welcome, welcome. I always love having new subscribers come into my chat. And you guys, if you guys hear me fussing, I have my dog in here with me. He is free to go about the entire house, but he has chosen to be in here. And he has chosen to start licking and grooming and being obnoxious. Sir, hey, what have I got? Uh-huh, sit. So he's chosen to be obnoxious. Come, you want it? I'm going to let him have his bone back. This is his chew bone. And if he gets obnoxiously loud, we'll take it back. We'll take it back away. Pam says, pretty pattern. That'll be a nice quilt of valor. Right? I'm in love with it. All right. So Samantha, since you are new to our chat, this is something that I do with all of my subscribers. Will you please let me know where you hail from? You don't have to be exact with the city if you would not like to. But I do kind of like to know what part of the country all of my subscribers are in. We've got Wyoming, Rhode Island, Greenland, we've got Arizona, and a whole bunch of other places represented tonight. First time I've chatted, just don't chat much. That is okay, Samantha, no worries. I tend to get into other people's chats and forget to chat, so you are good. All right, so there's one thing I did forget to do. I did forget to change thread, so bear with me, guys. Let me get my thread spool, and let me get my thread stand and get it where I can reach it. We do not want to sew this red, white, and blue fabric with gray thread. It will not end up looking like I intended. So we are swapping out. Michigan here says, Donnell, that is awesome. Samantha is from Georgia. That is awesome. I actually moved to Wyoming from Alabama in 2023 and could not be happier with my choice. I definitely needed to get away from the humidity. Candace says that she is from Georgia as well. Sherry is from North Carolina. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Andrea says, thank you, everyone. I will agree. It will be a beautiful quilt of valor. I do. I think it's going to be stunning. And the fact that it looks more complicated than it actually will end up being will lend to ease for the Quilt of Valor people who are making Quilts of Valor to be able to get those done quickly. Judy says, Georgia here too. You guys, we have so many people from Georgia. I lived in Huntsville for a while, Huntsville, Alabama. So I could go to Atlanta at the drop of a hat if I so chose. But I do not miss the humidity. I do not miss it one single bit. We had a very humid day here the other week, or earlier this week or something. Don't quote me. I'm lost. Uh, but we had a humid day here recently, and it about tore my body up. Oh, you know what? I don't know if I've got any wound bobbins with this color. Bear with me just a second, guys. We are going to find out. And I am due for a new needle, so we're going to do that too. And I do not see my bobbins. Yeah, I do. Hang on. This is what happens when I don't get prep time, guys. I am scatterbrained and all across the place. And that was not actually my bobbins that I saw. So that is still not them. Let me see one more location. No, I have not found my bobbins. So my bobbins have gone MIA. Oh, one other place. Hang on. Hang on. Yep, found them. Okay. And I do have that thread color, so we don't have to rewind. We don't have to wind. Let's see. You guys, I am not normally this scatterbrained, so if you guys have never seen my channel before, I sincerely apologize. This is the worst possible video for you to start watching my channel on, because I am so scatterbrained today. Alright, Andrea says that she's currently working on a Stars and Stripes pattern to donate to the vet group that she donates to in Missouri. I will release it for testing as soon as I can. That sounds awesome. I may have to take a break from testing. I have so much on my plate right now. And I was actually almost out of thread anyway, so pulling out my gray is not a bad idea. Gave me a chance to see that I was dangerously close to running out and losing bobbin chicken. Alright, and yeah, you guys, I really have not had a chance to trim anything or do anything, so this is me stressed. Samantha says, thanks y'all, just hanging out waiting on my husband to come in and eat supper. I'm usually not watching YouTube when you're on at night. That is okay. That is okay. So if you did miss the bobble quilt behind me, this blue and teal and gray, we are going to start that on Thursday. I do not have my live scheduled up just yet. Those are going to be scheduled up tonight. As well as getting the retreat registration set up so you guys can register for the retreat at the end of the month. There is no charge for the Zoom retreat. I'm not going to charge for it this time. We are doing this as a test run to see how well it works. So yeah, we're not charging for it or anything like that, so it is free, but I do need you guys to register for it. So we will have that registration up and running sometime this evening. Maritza has also joined the chat. She says, hola. Welcome in, Maritza. Hola to you too. Andrea says, no, Pam, she is in Texas, but from Missouri. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm from Alabama. I've lived in Mississippi and Alabama, and that's it. But I visited all over the country. The only places that I have not visited, I've not visited Rhode Island, and I've not been north of upstate New York. Every other state in the country, aside from Hawaii, I have also visited. I have visited Alaska. It's just been a while. So, alright. So, this is one thing that I do, guys. Alright, so there are a total of 6 blocks in this quilt. So, I have my blocks labeled. Could be either 2 or 3. 2 and 3 are both the same block, just in different colorways. So I have selected to do block 3 for tonight. This is going to be my blue colorway. And so I have put everything for all 6 of my block 3s in one bag. So when I go to pull out and work on block 3, I have everything that I need for 6 of them, because there are 6 repeats in the quilt. Samantha says, yes, this humidity is no joke for sure in Georgia, but it's cooling off for now. Yeah, my parents still live in Alabama, and I dread the day I have to go do anything to take care of them or help them or whatever, because that humidity is absolutely going to kill me. Alright, so what I'm going to do first is I am going to lay out my pieces. I am using a white for the center. This is a white on white. You guys, if you have never used a blacklight flashlight, this is the time to use one. Mine is over in the other part of the room because, again, I'm not prepared for tonight. It does happen. But I kind of know what I'm looking at with this fabric, and because I just finished cutting it within the last 2 hours, I kind of know where I'm looking for my right sides of my fabric. But I will shoot this with a black light before I assemble it in the finished quilt. So do not panic. I will double check my white on white to make sure that it is accurate. Alright, and let me get this out of the way so you guys do not have measurements in front of you for any way, shape, form, fashion, because that is not what we are here for tonight. You guys are here to see how it goes together, not how to measure to put it together. Andrea said, Tammy asked me earlier if I wanted red or blue tonight. I said red, then the next message I said blue, said or blue. No, you said blue, and then you said or red. So you said blue first, so I went with your first choice. And I had asked my husband, I was like, which one would you rather me do? You know, would you rather me do blue or white? And he's like, whichever one. I'm like, that does not help me. I was like, you know, what am I supposed to do? Neither of you can make a decision. And he's like, well, what did she say first? I said, she said blue first. And he's like, okay, we'll do blue. Like, okay, that makes it simple. I can do that. All right. So we are going to be assembling some flying geese tonight. And we also have some half square triangle units. And we are going to assemble as much of this as we can. Now, my half square triangles, I will go ahead and admit, because I know that they're half square triangles because of the measurements and looking at the pattern, I have opted that I will do my half square triangles the way I prefer to do them. So even though the pattern gave me one set of measurements for my half square triangles, I did cut them 1/8 of an inch larger, and then I will trim them down once they are assembled. So yeah, we are going to do that with it. So I do apologize in advance, but that is what I will do because I want an accurate half square triangle. And I am running out of space. I did not plan on how big the block would be. So you guys can hate me for that, but I did not plan for it. All right, let me get what I need for my half square triangles, or my flying geese first. Let's get that out of the way. And we will do some flying geese, guys. How does flying geese sound? You guys like some flying geese? How many of you guys like to do flying geese units? Or do they scare you? Like, do you do them only like on paper? Like the flying geese paper? Or are you guys good with, you know, doing a standard flying goose unit? You know, what do you guys think about flying geese? Are they your units? Are they the units of the devil? You know, what do you think of flying geese? And yes, I am a little crazy. Samantha says that's a good idea to make them bigger and then trim down. I wish I'd remember to do that. Anytime you see one of the measurements in 7/8 of an inch, that's when I know that there's no way I'm cutting it 7/8 of an inch. And right now I really can't. My hand will not allow me to do that intricate of trimming. So if it is not an even measurement, like an easy, like quarter, you know, half, 3/4 measurement or full inch measurement, then I am going to struggle. Andrea says I make tons of flying gooses because I love star blocks. Yes. Judy says I'm okay with them. We'll do them if I have to, right? Right? Flying geese can sometimes be a little bit of a challenge. And I typically do have my diagonal seam tape. However, when I'm going to pattern test, I will be honest with you guys. If I am pattern testing something, if you guys at home would typically probably have to draw a line, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to be sewing on my line. If it is something where you would typically like sew 2 at a time, that's how I'm going to do it. Even if the pattern doesn't say, I'm going to pick the most popular method because that's what most people are going to do. Most people are going to do that most popular method. So that's what we're going to do. Sherry says, once you know how they are fun to do, right? They can be. Chloe says, I'm okay. I did the 4 at a time. It was tough to trim by, right? My problem with the 4 at a time is that you end up with bias where you shouldn't have bias. Like, it is really, you have to be aware of where your bias edges are. And I really despise having bias on the outside edges. So when I posted the other week, or was it last week? Oh my gosh, when was that? It was before Sunday. When I posted the picture of sewing that sashing on the bottom, and that was because I had bias edges on the triangles that were going up against it, and I did not want there to be any kind of distortion, because once you start having a little bit of distortion at that level, you're looking at a major problem across the whole quilt. Samantha says, I'm good with the flying geese, but they sometimes get wonky, so I just accept I'm not perfect, right? I am with you on that. I am with you on that. This is going to be as perfect as I can make it, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be perfect. Perfect as I can make it is, can you see it on a galloping horse? And if not, then we're going to leave it. If it is bothering me, if that's the first thing I see when I look at my quilt, is that I see this glaring, like I've lost my point, or it's super, super wonky, then I go fix it. If on a, if going by on a galloping horse you can't tell, or it's not the first thing I see, it's no big deal. Jess has joined the chat. So blessed by Jess. Welcome in, Jess. She says, hi, Tammy, and hello, everyone in the chat. Welcome, welcome. Candace says, my family doesn't know the difference. If points are missing, once it's quilted, it's good enough. Right? Right, Candace? Okay, so I've got a funny story to tell you guys. So one of the ladies that I quilt with, that I go to sew with on quilts, like we're piecing them, we're not actually quilting. She quilts at home and I quilt at home too. She taught someone to quilt, and I think it was her granddaughter. Don't quote me on who it is, but she taught her to quilt, right? She taught this other person to quilt, and like she taught her to piece or whatever, and bought her a sewing machine. And then, but she had already made her a quilt, and of course it had flying geese and other kinds of points involved in the quilt. She comes back to she comes back to my friend and goes, did you know all your points are missing? Oh my goodness, you guys. What a moment. What a moment when your gift recipient comes back to you and asks you if you knew your points were missing off your quilt when you made it. Sherry says, quilt in a day, flying geese ruler. I do not have that. I do have, this might be a good project for me to try it on. I do have a Nifty Notions flying goose ruler, and I think I may have another ruler or two that are flying geese, and I just never use them. I never do. So I know, let me see, I know about what size that's supposed to be, and it looks like they're supposed to come out the same size as the rectangle, the original rectangle. So we're going to work with that as our basis. So I know what my size of my original rectangle is, and we're just going to work with it from there. So I do chain piece. So even though I am, saving a step, or not saving a step, but I am killing a step by drawing the lines instead of doing diagonal seam tape, I am still going to, and I'm actually, no, I don't have any scrap. Okay. I was going to go ahead and sew off a scrap, but let me pull my thread up. I don't want any kind of hiccups with this. Let's see. There we go. All right, thread's pulled up. I am going to sew just a hair to the side of my line. So I am not sewing directly on my line because I do want to have enough room to to go over. And I will go ahead and line these two here in just a minute. So once I get these 4 started, then I will get the others in there as well, and we'll do them all in a row. So I am still going to chain piece, which is my normal, but I again, normally I would use diagonal seam tape, but I would be more tempted to put my point directly on the line instead of going off by a thread or two. Samantha says, I will watch replay. Tammy, gotta go. Take care, y'all. Have a good night. Absolutely, Samantha. Thank you for being here. Thank you for chatting. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. You guys are so awesome. So who all has the Quilts in a Day Flying Goose unit, Flying Goose ruler? Like, is that something a lot of you guys have, or is that just... I mean, I've heard of it, and, like, I've seen it, you know, advertised to me and all, but I've never bought it. So, I don't know, you know, do a lot of you have Flying Geese rulers that you use? Like, is that something that you guys have? Like I said, I think I might have a Flying Goose ruler, but I honestly don't know. I have no idea. And if the dog chewing on the bone does get to be too loud, you guys let me know. And I will gladly take it away from him. Jess says that she has the ruler. Chloe might. Judy doesn't. Okay. Yeah, so I know I don't have that one. If I do have a ruler, it is definitely not that one. And I'm not even sewing anywhere close to my lines, guys. Chloe says that she has the Fons and Porter ruler. Okay. I can see that. All right, and what I am using is air and water soluble ink. So I'm using the purple side. I am not using the blue, which is water soluble only. I don't want to have to wash this to get this out. I am going to be washing this quilt, so quilt will be washed before it is awarded to the veteran. So yeah, it will be washed, but I'd rather use the one that is air soluble, so it's more likely to come out earlier for me, so I don't have to fight with it as much. And that is personal preference. That is personal preference. I did mark a quilt with this when I was going to quilt. I marked it with the air and water soluble, and by the time I was done quilting, the marking was already gone. Like, it was already disappeared before I was even getting to parts of the quilt. So I was having to remark. Like, that's how good it was disappearing for me. Laura says that she doesn't have a specific ruler for Flying Geese. Jess says, I have a corner clipper tool, the Deb Tucker, gotcha. I think that's what it's called. It helps to make the geese units too. Yes, it does. Andrea says, I have one of Fallon's Flying Geese rulers. I'm planning on getting all of them. I think my problem with getting a lot of extra rulers, and this is just me, is that I don't tend to use them. I forget that I have rulers that have special features, and unless it is a very specialized technique, like I have a Dresden plate ruler, guys, I would be more likely to use that than probably a Flying Goose ruler, just because I forget that I have the Flying Goose ruler, and I would completely just, you know, space on the fact that I even have it, much less learning even how to use it. I had to buy a specialty ruler set for a class I took at Paducah one year, and guys, I have not touched those rulers since I finished the quilt. Like, I just haven't. Laura says that she doesn't have a specific ruler for Flying Geese. Okay, see, yeah, I don't think I do either. If I do, I don't know it. Like, it is not, I don't know. I don't know if it is just me, you know, thinking that it's just extra, or, you know, just not really getting why it would be necessary to have. I think that's part of my thing, is why would it be necessary when I could spend money on something else? Now, I did come to a realization today, guys, and I am beyond confused at myself. Okay, so if you guys, I said at the beginning when I first got logged on, part of the issue that I've had today is I have had to be on the phone with insurance because their computer systems caused a major snafu. So I was having to deal with insurance, and one of the things that was very concerning is that snafu would impact my infusions. And I just received an infusion. So if they didn't work or whatever, like if their systems didn't cover me for my infusion that I just got, I was going to get billed for my infusion. And I have seen what they bill insurance for those infusions, guys. And it is upwards of what I can afford. Upwards of what most people can afford. Let's see. Jess says, I didn't have one for years. I just didn't want to think anymore. Right. That I can understand. Pam says, I tend to use my 3 favorite rulers and also forget my others. Yeah, I have some favorites. I'm learning to use these creative grids. Like, I'm trying desperately to get comfortable with them to the point that I'm comfortable with my Nifty Notions rulers and kind of like swap over and start putting my money towards like getting the creative grids rulers as a set or whatever. They're just so expensive and it's not easy to afford them. So I do have my Nifty Notions that I still go back to in sizes that I don't have in creative grids yet. And I also don't want markings on my rulers, so even though it should err away, I wipe it away. Okay, but yeah, so getting back to it. So as I'm, thinking about this insurance snafu and how much they bill my insurance company for my infusions, I got to thinking that I could afford a long arm for the same price as what they bill my insurance company for. So if, in fact, I cannot afford my infusions, I definitely can't afford a long arm. But wouldn't it be awesome if insurance would afford a long arm for me? They're paying for these infusions, so maybe they would pay for a long arm, It's wishful thinking. I know it's not going to happen. But wouldn't that be amazing, guys, if we could get insurance that paid for our quilting supplies? Joyce says, I want Fallon's rulers, right? I have been using, all day, I've been using Fallon's, oh gosh, what is it called? Quilter Slide Lock. It's over where I can still see the label. It's a Quilter Slide Lock. I've got the 14-inch. I really need to get the 24-inch. But when I bought it, I did not have enough money to buy both, even though they were on sale together. So I had to go with just the 14-inch. Because, again, I wanted to try it, make sure it was something I liked before I invested more money. But I definitely probably need to invest in the 24-inch. Alright, so now I've got all 8 of my Flying Geese units started. So let me get these trimmed apart. And I will show you. Let's see if the camera will focus. Focus. Nope. Okay, that's as good as it's going to get. So my purple line is my line that I drew. And off to the right-hand side of that is where my stitching line is. So my stitching is not even on the purple line. It is just to that outside edge so that I for sure have enough room to trim these to size and they will still look fabulous. That is what I am going for. And that is doing this the traditional way without any fancy rulers. The pattern did not say if you have a special ruler, use it. And I didn't think ahead that I might want to use it. So one thing that I will do, and this is possibly just personal preference, but I like to set my seams before I press them open. So I'm going to set my seams and before I trim, and then we will press open. All right. Gotta get my mat up here too. All right. Let's see. Andrea says, if you have ever used one, you will want them all. That is why I started writing my pattern so I could buy the rulers. Well, I mean, I've got the 14-inch slide lock. I do have a little bit of problems holding it down. But I needed the size today. My creative grids do not have the size I needed to be able to cut through some of my fabrics. So I did need the 14 inches from the Slide Lock, because I think my biggest creative grids, I don't know where it went, but I think it is only, yeah, it's sitting right beside my Slide Lock. So yeah, it's only 12 inches. So I needed that extra 2 inches at least. So yeah, it was the only option I really had. Sorry, I'm waiting for the iron to warm up, you guys. So today is Technicality Tuesday. That's what we're going to start calling it. I think I'm just going to rename my entire Tuesday night series to Technicality Tuesdays. How does that sound to you guys? You like that idea? Alright. This iron is actually setting this ink in a little bit better. So I am hoping it will air out. We will see, we will see, we will see. Alright. So now I'm just going to trim off the extra so that I can then press everything open. Thank you guys for being patient with me tonight. It is a blessing. It is very much a blessing. So when you do your flying geese, do you press your seams to one side? Do you press them open? What do you do? I like to press mine open. I tend to get a more accurate flying goose unit that way. But what do you like to do with yours? And let's see. Alright, these guys will give me a 1-inch square, so these are going into my scraps. So I'm not giving anything away, but I will get a 1-inch square out of those. So they're at least big enough for that. I'm not giving away any sizes or anything like that, I promise. Laura says I have some of Fallon's rulers. The Slide Locks are definitely the ones I use the most often. Yeah, I've been having to use it. Because with this brace on my wrist, the only way for me to weigh down a ruler enough is to put my whole arm into weighing it down. So the Slide Lock definitely is helping because I was able to do more cutting. But what I'm having to do with the Slide Lock, I can't do this with the Slide Lock. Like, I can't rest my hand on it. And I can't do this, like gripping the Slide Lock handle, because my thumb is still sticking out too far. So I still can't use it the proper way. What I'm having to do right now in order to use the ruler is I'm literally having to do this and put like 3 fingers on one side and 2 on the other side to press the ruler straight down. And I am using the brace, so I am using the brace to press into it. But it's not ideal. So it is helping, but it's not the perfect solution. If you do have to have a brace on or something like that, it doesn't necessarily give you any more flexibility in options. So with these rulers, the smaller ones, you know, when I'm doing trim ups or whatever, I can put enough pressure on the brace to, like, putting pressure on the brace in through the metal to hold it down. So that's, you know, what I'm doing. It's coming from shoulder and elbow into the brace, because I don't have any wrist strength right now. Laura says I don't have enough strength in my hands to hold a regular ruler for cutting yardage. Yeah, I don't either. I don't, and that's part of where we started noticing that there was a problem with my wrist. So I don't have that either, but it doesn't completely solve the problem for me, if that makes sense. Like, it's not a bad solution. It's just not a complete solution for me so far. Katie says, seems like a lot of folks using Fallon's rulers. Yeah, and the part of the reason I got one of Fallon's rulers was to see if it would help with my ability to be able to hold a ruler in place. And without this brace on, yes, it does help. You could use 2-hand barbells that weigh 5 pounds each. That'll keep the ruler from moving. Assuming I could pick one up. That's part of the other problem is I would have to pick it up with my right hand right now. I could not pick it up with my left hand if I wanted to. I literally have almost no strength in my hand. And that is due to the challenge of being able to grip with my thumb. I cannot grip it well enough to do it. So I would have to move it with my right hand, and I can't hold the ruler steady enough with my left hand to move the weights with my right hand. Because my husband suggested that too. So we tried some things we had laying around to see if I could do it, and I physically can't. So yeah, it's a good idea. It's a great idea, and it's a partial solution. It's not a complete solution right now. And I don't know if that's just because I'm in the brace. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Katie. I would have to lay the ruler down and hold it steady a little bit with my left hand while I move the weight with my right. And I can't hold the ruler steady enough with my left to put the weight on there in the correct spot. Not for the level of precision that I want in my cutting. So, part of it is me being a little OCD. A lot of it is probably me being OCD. But it is what it is. Katie says I use 2 of them for my long rulers. Yeah, I'm not even using any long rulers. The largest ruler that I have used lately is a 13-inch ruler. I have a 13-inch ruler, or is it 11? Oh no, that's my 11-inch. My 13 is still on the wall. So yeah, it's my 11-inch ruler. That's the longest one biggest one I've used. And it's 11 inches square. And I couldn't hold it steady while I put the weight on it. So like as I moved the weight, when I picked the weight up to put it on my ruler, the ruler was shifting. So my husband would literally have to be in here the entire time I went to cut anything, because he would have to hold the ruler steady while I moved the weights, or I'd have to hold the ruler steady with both hands while he moved the weights. Like it would have to be a 2-person job. So we're trying to avoid 2-person job things for a little bit. He is off at theater, so he can't be here and hang out and come do this stuff for me. So it's whatever I can manage to do on my own. So that's part of what has slowed me down doing this too, is, just trying to figure out how to hold a ruler long enough to make it work. All right, so we have our half flying geese units ready. So these are one of them. Just this one. So this is a medium blue for me, and this is my dark blue. And these will get trimmed. I will double check to make sure that they are the exact right size if I need to. And we will see how long it takes this air and water soluble to go away. If I need to spritz it with water, I will do that. And this is one of the other half flying goose units. So we're going to go add the other flying goose wings here in just a second. Deb is here. Welcome in, Deb. Glad you made it into the chat tonight. Glad you made it. All right, so typically what I like to do when I do flying geese units, when I go to put my second unit on, I sewed from the point down before. I would typically like to sew from the point down again. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reposition my unit so that I can sew from the point down, okay? So the reason that I do that when I sew my flying geese units is I find it is a little bit more accurate for me in the piecing. So I find that either it's that my machine likes that better or the fabric likes it better. Whatever the cause is as to why it works, that is what I have found works for me. And I am sewing slow on these. I'm not, blasting through. There's no reason to. Deb says, thanks. Sorry I missed yesterday. Oh, you're fine, Deb. Absolutely fine. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we are going to hang out until I get this block done, you guys. So no worries on, you know, the fact that I came on early. And whatever you missed at the early, you might have to go back and watch the replay to go catch up. You guys get to see me frustrated and stressed. But, you know, it is, you know, don't worry about it. You have missed some stuff, but I don't consider you late. I consider you here, so you're good. Let's see. Andrea says that is how I do it too. Yeah, doing from the point down, or doing the same direction as the last stitching. Yeah, and I think part of it, I did see originally when I was learning to do flying geese units. This is one of the techniques that was recommended, and I don't remember what teacher, what quilter taught that option or taught that as her primary, you know, recommendation, is to sew, you know, starting at the point and then start at the point again. And I don't remember if it's because a lot of machines will like to eat these small corners. I'll show you in just a second what I'm talking about. If you, Deb says, I'm a slow sewer. That's okay. I'm not normally, but I do not mind slowing down. Okay? I will slow down for a technique that I need to get right. Okay, so when you start at these corners, a lot of older machines, especially if you didn't do a leader ender kind of thing, machines will eat that corner. And you're less likely to have your machine eat it if you start here. And I think that is the reason that I was taught originally to sew from that middle point down. Didn't matter which side of the flying goose unit you were doing, but always sew from that middle point down. So your machine would be less likely to eat it. So even if your machine doesn't tend to eat things, it's not a bad idea to come up with one way you do them all of the time, especially if you're working on getting consistency down. Consistency is about doing the same thing repeatedly and getting the same results. Okay, it's not about doing things repeatedly and getting the, you know, getting it wrong every time. It is about doing it the same way every time, because you get consistent results that way. And that's again why I do my half square triangles a little large, is I like to be able to trim down. So because I know that there's half square triangles coming up, I went ahead and made them 1/8 of an inch larger so that I have room to trim, because I know, especially when I fly through them, which I'm known to do. You guys have seen me. When I fly through my half square triangles, I tend to have a little bit of wonkiness go into them. I don't always sew straight. I like to go all over the map with it, and so it's a matter of getting it right. Jody is here with Quilt Squirrel. Welcome in, Jody. She says hello all. Welcome, welcome. I have seen a lot of new faces in the last week. I'm so thankful. You guys are rocking my world. Rocking my world, guys. Absolutely rocking it. Alright, tonight we are working on one of Andrea's quilts, where I am doing a testing for one of Andrea's quilts, Mama J Enterprises. And so we are testing, and I am working on block 3. Block 2 and block 3 are the same thing. They are just different colorways. And there will be 6 of each. So I will have a total of 12 of these blocks by the time all is said and done. 6 will be blue and 6 will be red. So that is what we are working on tonight, is working on one of them. Just to make sure everything comes out the way that it's supposed to, which I believe it will. I have no doubts as of right now. So you guys, if you do like this pattern, I did show a picture of it earlier, and I will show a picture of it again here in a minute. If you guys do like this pattern, when it is issued out, you guys will be able to purchase that through Andrea's website. She will have an option for you. The quilt behind me, the blue and teal and gray behind me. Jody says, beautiful fabrics. Thank you. Thank you. I want to do mine as a quilt of valor. Knock out 2 birds with 1 stone, do a pattern testing, and get a quilt of valor out of the process. So this worked out really well for that. So that quilt behind me with the teal and the gray, that is what we are going to start on Thursday. Those classes will start 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Do not panic if that is too early or too late in the day for you. You can always come back and watch replay, and you can always comment with questions. You can also always email me with questions. So if you guys have questions about anything that you see in my tutorial videos, absolutely drop a question in there. I do not mind. I answer every single comment, even if I just say hi, which usually I say more words than hi. I don't think I've done that one in a while. I think I've only done the just hi once. But I do always answer questions, and I absolutely love to log into YouTube and go to my comment section and see that I have a whole bunch to do. Chloe says, replay for me. Absolutely. Replay absolutely works, though. Replay is awesome. Awesome. Now, I am, one thing I did go over earlier, I am using an AccuQuilt die for my quilt. So this is cut with an AccuQuilt Studio die. I am going to see whether or not there is an AccuQuilt regular die for it, so you can use it on an AccuQuilt Go or Go Baby, or Go Big, or whatever other versions they've got out. I have the AccuQuilt Studio, so I can use every single die that is out there. But I am going to see if there is a die available for it, and I will put that in the video here. I will also put it in the description, I'll put it in the description of the video here. I'll also put it in the description of the videos once I get the video links uploaded, or the video, oh my gosh, the video thumbnails uploaded for Thursday's classes. Once I get those up and going, I will also put all the information in there as well. I'm starting out with 6 yards of fabric. I'm doing a yard of fabric for each of the 6 colors that I'm using in mine. If you decide you want to do this pattern, I will be issuing out 2 options. There will be a free option, which is what I always gotta go finish watching tomorrow. Absolutely. That is fine, Sherry. I appreciate you being here. So I will issue out a free version of the pattern, and it will not have the exact measurement that matches this. It will be very similar measurements, but it will not be the exact ones because they are AccuQuilt measurements. I will also issue out an AccuQuilt measurement version, and that pattern, I don't think I have to charge a certain amount, but I do have to charge for it. So I'm thinking I'm just going to charge $1 for the pattern. So you guys will get the actual AccuQuilt measurements for $1. Linda is here. She's a good evening. Took a much needed nap and wide awake now. Coffee in hand while I watched. No worries, Linda. Welcome in. Welcome. We are just talking about Thursday's class. It's going to start at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time on Thursday. It'll be 3 weeks in a row. Each class will start at 10 a.m. Jody says the blue, teal, and gray quilt on the wall reminds me of spinning arrows. Love it. Yeah, it's actually I cannot talk, you guys. I'm about to go get some gobstoppers put in my mouth to help with my talking. So I actually designed this for Northcott. Northcott issued out a challenge to use their line of fabric that they had created, and I decided to design something that kind of looks yin and yang. So if I turn this quilt 90 degrees, which is what I will do before the classes on Thursday, I didn't look at my orientation when I did this. It is actually supposed to be up and down. So the gray here is supposed to be like gray here. That's what it's supposed to be. That's how I have it in all my other quilts that I have made with this pattern. But it does come out to be a square pattern. You can add additional pieces or take away some pieces if you don't want a square quilt. Or you can change up the size of borders that you add, etc. To make it something different. But yeah, so I designed this for Northcott Fabrics, and I was not a selected finalist in the pattern design. So they opted not to go with my quilt and had chosen another designer's pattern to accentuate their line of fabrics. Joy says, I needed that teal and gray pattern 8 months back. Oh my goodness. Well, you have it. You will have it now. You will have it by the end of the month. One way or the other, you will have the purchase or the free version, either way. And yeah, so yeah, you will have that by the end of the month, by the 26th. All right, so now we've got our blue and white Flying Geese units. There's 4 of those. And then we have, there were 3 of those. Now there's 4. And then we've got our dark and medium blue Flying Geese units as well. So these may not stand out that much right here, but they will stand out a lot more from a distance once these blocks are assembled. All right, my other units that I need to assemble are my my half square triangle units. So let me make sure I have grabbed my correct squares for those. That is that. And I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total. So I need 4 squares. Okay, so I've got the right number of squares. And yeah, so we've got the right number of squares. So I'm going to draw a line. And because these are the half square triangles, I've got to sew twice on these. And we are going to sew on the back, or draw on the back of the darker ones, because I think the lines show up better on the back of this fabric than the other one. But yeah, so I have remade this pattern multiple different times. One young baby that, the first baby that I made it for is now, gosh, I think she's in 2nd grade, guys. Hers was the first one that I made it, for a baby. Like this, I designed this, and then I was asked to do a baby quilt. I was like, well, I think I like doing this pattern. And it was done in gold and purple and pink. Those were the colors that the parents wanted. Let's see. Joy says my granddaughter wanted teal and gray for her birthday, so I made it my own pattern. In fact, still working on it. Didn't get it done in time for her birthday. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, okay, so these fabrics themselves are older than the little girl, because I made this pattern before she was even thought of, because I reused this pattern to make her quilt. And then the back of that quilt, the parents and older siblings had worn t-shirts to the gender reveal, and they had dyed the t-shirts during the gender reveal. So the dye was pink, so they gave me all of the t-shirts that they had worn, all 4 of the family members had worn during the gender reveal, and the backing of that baby's quilt is the t-shirts that her family wore during her gender reveal. So that quilt was very special, and then I have since reused this pattern 2 more times for bigger, big sister and middle sister for the one that's coming in November. So yeah, this pattern's going to get reused again. So the pattern is easy. It's super easy. It goes together quickly, and it's nice big pieces. It's not the super tiny stuff. So you guys do not need to panic. I am not sending you to the world of the super tiny with this. We're not visiting that world. But we are, this is going to be an easy one to put together. The hardest part about it is if you don't have the Studio Cutter die and there's not an AccuQuilt die for it, the hardest part will be the cutting. And it's not bad. It will not be bad cutting. I promise you that. I could cut this with a rotary cutter if I wanted to. I just don't want to. So, you know, there's that. And there's a little bit of planning that goes into it. And I will go over all of that in Thursday's lesson. So we're going to go over the planning of your cutting in Thursday's lesson, in addition to actually doing the cutting. So you guys, if you do not have an AccuQuilt, you've always wanted to see how an AccuQuilt works. I have the AccuQuilt Studio Cutter, and so I will be pulling that out so you guys can see just how big the AccuQuilt Studio Cutter is, how easy it is to use. It is very disability friendly. I don't use my Studio Cutter as much as I would like, but I don't have a whole host of dies. I just have a small number. Like, I mean, I have less than one shelf worth of dies, guys. So, like, I don't have a lot of dies to use, but when I do need to use a die, I've got, you know, I've got the basics of what I need. And that's what I go with. It is what it is. Alright, so I've got 1/2 of my half square triangle unit sewn. So if you guys see the purple line, I've sewn 1/4 of an inch away. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to sew on the other side of that 1/4 inch. Or I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch on the other side of that line. And I am sewing a scant 1/4 inch, in case you guys ever do wonder. Even though I cut these 1/8 of an inch larger, so I would have plenty of room, I am still sewing a scant 1/4 of an inch because that is what my typical sewing is. But if you sew, if you cut these the exact size of the pattern, then you would still be able to sew that scant 1/4 of an inch and have them come out beautifully. So that will work no matter what. So yeah. My poor little thread start at the beginning of the other end is kind of like causing a bump. So I'm going to see if it's going to hold. Oh yeah, it's going to hold. Okay. Alright, so in case you guys wonder, yes, even on half square triangle units, before I trim, I do go ahead and press. Okay. So I'm going to set my seams before I come back and cut these apart. And with setting your seams, all you're looking to do is you are shrinking the thread inside of into your fabric so that your thread isn't like hanging out or whatever. Judy says, well, I will finish this on the replay. Have a good night, everyone. Absolutely, Judy. Thank you for hanging out for as long as you did. We appreciate it. Absolutely appreciate it. You have a good evening. All right, so I'm going to trim these on the line. And then we are going to press the seams open, trim them up, and then we will be actually to block assembly. That is as easy as this block is. So you will have a lot of your squares, you will have your flying geese units, and you will have some half square triangle units. So they're not hard blocks to assemble. You do have a little bit of extra pieces to go into it. You know, it's not, you know, just one and done. It's not an easy like 9 patch where it's all squares, but you're getting this beautiful star pattern out of it with very minimal effort. So you're getting a lot of bang for your buck, if you want to call it that way. All right, so I'm going to press these real quick, and I am pressing my seams open. And there we go. Got to get my hand on it now. My hands do not want to get onto these tonight, so that is what I'm working on as well. Now, one thing that I have considered with as many half square triangle units as I've done lately is looking at getting a block lock ruler. However, there's so many different sizes of block lock rulers. I would want to get the largest size that would work for the majority of what I do, and then, you know, cope with having different sizes. You know, let's see, FYI, Tammy, once the debate starts in 17 minutes, I will probably not be able to hear because my husband will be yelling at the TV. Are my captions on? Please tell me if my captions are on. Please tell me. Please tell me. Yeah, test out my captions for me. Let me know if those are working. Since my time obviously didn't work like it was supposed to. Let me know if my captions are working. Because that will help a lot. Because I wouldn't be able to hear either. If my dad were here, that's where all the attention would be on. They are on. Good, very good, awesome. My dad will be yelling at the TV as well. And if my husband weren't at theater tonight, he and my dad would probably be hanging out watching the debate together. And they might be talking over the TV, or they might be talking to the TV. Have I tried to make my own block lock with painter's tape? No, I have not. What is this magic that you are talking about? This is magic. That I need to... You need to tell me more. You need to tell me more. Block lock make your own paint with paint. Oh my gosh. Like, I have rulers I could convert into a block lock. If painter's tape, really? That's all I had to do? Are you serious? I'm so mad now. I'm so mad. Oh my gosh. Kendall Taylor does. Okay. Oh my gosh. Chloe, where have you been? Where have you been? I needed this information months ago. Chloe says that she has not tried it. Okay. Well, I have painter's tape. I do. And if I had not just pressed these seams open, I could try it. But I did press these seams open. Alright, so I can't do it that way, but, you know, it is what it is. Alright, so I know what size these need to be trimmed to. So we are going to trim up. And I don't have a lot of give room. So yeah, doing a scant seam is definitely a wise choice. And, I mean, I did an extra 1/8 of an inch. But I don't have a lot of give room. So when you are trimming half square triangles, you always want to make sure that your diagonal seam is going along your diagonal and is going to both your top and your bottom points of your trim up size. Because you do want to make sure that those are doing exactly what they're supposed to do the entire time. Yeah, I don't have a lot of room, so I would definitely advise maybe Andrea, if you will make a note in the file, make it, let me see, let me know that you're there and you're able to see what I'm saying. I know, I'm on 30-second delay, guys. I'm sorry. You guys just gotta bear with 30-second delay. Alright. Let's see. Okay. Alright, so make a note in the file for me, if you will. My recommendation is to go up to that full inch size on these half square triangle units, and then put the trim down size in the pattern notes. Rayanne says, I have the block lock rulers and I'm late, do you need to borrow them? Nope. I have already I've pressed the seams open so they won't work as well. But yeah, Andrea, I would put my recommendation would be, because this is, I mean, I'm barely getting anything off, and this is doing it at the larger size. I would, for simplicity's sake, unless you want to put in there notes about choose your preferred method to make this size finished half square triangle, I would put the larger size in the instructions. Let's see. Irish Sail Lady says that she's tried the block lock but used the perfect slotted trimmer. I don't have access to that one either. Rayanne, do you have that one?
the perfect slotted trimmer. I don't have that one. I don't think I've seen that one. I may have to go looking for that one. Yeah, I did put these half square triangle units at the full inch size instead of the 7/8 inch size, because if you go like looking at a chart for half square triangles, they give a 7/8 inch size. But for these, I would recommend going ahead and going to that full inch size, and possibly if you need to adjust the yardage. Yeah, she says, okay, got it. Yep. Yeah, doing the adjustments, I think, will make it easier for everyone to get it right the first time, instead of getting frustrated and throwing it aside because these units are so tight. And that was with sewing scant. So, I mean, that is my 2 cents. So any of the others that are in the pattern, because this is the first 2 that I've started, any of the others I will do that with as well. I will go ahead and go to the full inch size. Just that way there's no, I mean, this waist is minimal. It's very minimal. And I know very few people who can do that 7/8 inch size cut correctly. Chloe says that she uses the perfect slotted trimmer. Okay. Yeah, I know very few people who can do that 7/8 inch perfectly the first time. And I mean, I might have gotten it right, but I think it would still be, you'll get a more perfect unit every time, having just a little bit of waist. I know it's a little bit of extra work, and some people don't like the extra work, but I think that'll help. Rayanne says, no, Missouri Star uses the perfect slotted trimmer, but I don't have it. Okay. Let you cut the dog ears up. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I'm not worried about the dog ears. I don't worry about the dog ears. I do know which one you guys are talking about, because I have seen Jenny use it. Now that you guys are triggering my memory, that dog ears comment, that got me thinking, because you trim those while they're still folded. So I do know which one you're talking about now. And no, I don't have that either. I definitely don't have that one. Out of all the ones I might have, that is not one of them. All right, so we are ready to lay out this block, you guys. Chloe says I got the slotted trimmer at Missouri Star Quilt Company on a deal. That's awesome. All right, so we have a white center unit. Let me make sure right side's up. Yep, right side's up. And we are going to do our flying geese units on all 4 sides. And we're going to see if this mat is big enough. And if it's not, we'll do what we have to do. Alright, so those are going there. Then I am going to have, that is my dark. So we are going to do, I got squares hanging out. That is why I have testers. My software writes it that way. But I also do not like the 7/8 measurements either. Yeah, there's a couple of other comments I'll have too. In addition to that, but that's the first one, is just go ahead and eliminate that 7/8 inch. All right, so I am going to trim these. I'm going to measure them here in just a second, trim, and let's see. All right, so these are going out here like this, and it forms a secondary star pattern, and you guys will get to see this here in just a minute. I'm not going to hide it from you guys, I promise. Paladin, stop, please. Sir. Sir. Enough. Enough. He's licking. I apologize. I gotta fuss at him every so often. Alright. He's still doing it, but, it is what it is. Alright, let's see. And we are doing our half squares out here like this. So they are going where the medium is touching the dark of the flying goose. Oh, this is looking cool. This is looking so cool. Of course, my medium is kind of a directional print. So that may be a comment as well, is that directional prints, you might have to allow extra for directional prints. Alright, and then let's see. Here are the last ones to go in. And these are going to hang off the board a little bit until it's sewn, because it will be smaller than the board once it's sewn. Ah, they're already falling off the board. Sorry. Okay, the corners are not staying on the board. All right. All right, so you guys see it? Can you see that? That is our block, minus the squares that fell off. All right, here is the block as well on the big screen. That is what we're going to put together. And let me correct the puppy again. Bear with me. Oh, and of course I put this right in front of my fan and it is blowing it everywhere. Sir, could you stop? Will you stop, please? Okay. He's looking at me funny. Andrea says, love it. Awesome. Well, there's going to be 6 more of them. Or 5 more of them. All right. Let me verify my flying geese unit sizes just to make sure that they line up correctly. Sir, could you stop? Hey. Okay. I just throw something his direction and it gets his attention long enough to get him to stop. And then I'll ask for it here in just a minute. Rayanne says, that is a cool block, right? Right? The pattern will be available for sale once everybody gets done testing it. And Andrea can get it listed. The pattern will be available. Okay. My fan has decided that it is done with me today. Okay. Everything's weighted down. And I weighted it with my ruler. I'm going to have to steal my ruler back. Oh my gosh, guys. All right. There. I have something else to weight it down. All right. So, here's a comment for everybody. If you do not have a Flying Goose ruler, I know we've been talking about them tonight, but if you do not have a Flying Goose ruler, what you need to determine about your block is whether or not there, or what is the center point of your block. So let's say your block comes out to be 6 inches before it's finished. So, you know, this block is not 6 inches, so you're not getting measurements from me. Good try. But if the block is 6 inches by 3 inches, your center point of your 6-inch side is 3 inches. So when you are laying your Flying Goose unit down, you want to make sure that the top point of your Flying Goose unit is coming in at your midpoint, whatever that number is. It can be an even number, it can be an odd number, it can be something funky. Just depends on what size your finished block unit is. So yeah, I'm getting threads. That's all I'm getting, guys. I'm not trimming off a whole bunch. I promise you're not missing anything. But I cannot give you sizes. That is part of the pattern. But yeah, that is how you know that you are putting it at the right measurement, is what is half of your Flying Goose unit size, your finished size. So you do have to be able to do a little bit of math, or you have to have somebody who can help you do a little bit of math, whether that's a calculator or a person. I use a calculator all the time. I use Alexa as my calculator all the time, and I apologize if I accidentally triggered Alexa in your house, your Amazon device in your house. I apologize. That was not my intent. I usually try to avoid saying the Amazon device's name. Laura says, very pretty. Thank you. I usually try to avoid saying the Amazon device's name because she tends to wake up. And Puppy has gone to retrieve the item I threw. So you guys may get to see him here in a minute if he decides to bring it to me. Come on. Bring it. Come on. Nope. Go get it. Go get it. Yep, he wants to bring it over here. So he is pawing the carpet, guys. He is entirely too much of a helper. All right, thank you. Can I have? Thank you. See, I have my pen back. Thank you. You did good. Yes, sir. You did good. He's not amused. He's not amused. All right. Now, let's see. Okay, this is the one that was throwing me off earlier. This is the one that, for some reason, my size is not exact. This is the one that caused me to look at all of them and make sure that they're all the right size. There's a little bit more than a few threads. It's not bad, it's not awful, but that's just a difference in my sewing between pieces and pieces. So I always recommend that you verify that a Flying Goose unit does come out to the size you want it to be. Yeah. So for those who came in late, or if you've not heard or you scrolled past or whatever, the Zoom retreat will be on September 28th and September 29th. There will be 2 Zoom sessions. There will be a Saturday session and a Sunday session. Registering for the Zoom retreat will give you access to both Zoom retreats. You will not have to register separately for Saturday or Sunday. So you can register once and be registered for both. And the links for the Zoom retreats will go out closer to time for the retreats. I promise that I won't wait until Saturday to send them out. Actually, I might wait till Saturday, now that I think about it. I will probably give it out that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send it out Saturday morning after my Saturday morning live. So you guys will be able to log into the Zoom retreat on Saturday morning. And then you guys will get to hang out and stay as long as you want, to hang out throughout the night. And then Sunday morning at midnight, everything swaps over to the Sunday retreat. So if you are on Saturday night at midnight, you can kind of hang out and click the link for the Sunday retreat and be logged into the Sunday retreat. I will try to be here to make sure everybody transitions smoothly from Saturday to Sunday, because it is in the Mountain Time Zone. So it may not be midnight your time. It may be midnight my time, but not yours. But yeah, so I will get the Zoom retreat links, retreat sign up registration link, however you want to call it. I will get that up after this live tonight. That is one of my 2 tasks to do tonight before I do anything else. So that will be getting uploaded. So you can come back to this video and go check that out. There will be a link on the community tab where you can also click to get to the registration form. And I will also put it in the Facebook group. So there will be 3 places to find it: tonight's video, the community tab, and Facebook. You guys will also get access to it every Tuesday and every Saturday and Sunday. I'm not going to do it on my tutorials. I'm not going to do the registration links on the tutorial videos, but I will do it for, Tuesdays and everything else. Okay. All right. Linda says, going to call it a night and watch the replay. Everyone have a great rest of the night. Absolutely, Linda. All we are going to do now is get this block assembled. So you guys will get to see the finished block in its entirety. That's what I am going for. So, yep, that's what we are doing. And you guys, I do this all the time. So, like, you see all my pieces sitting here, and they are not laid out. That will not be a problem for me. The only problem I've got is this one piece has a little crease in it. Alright, and I am going to keep flipping my direction of my medium print, this wave watery print, since it will not be the same throughout the entirety of the quilt. I don't want to try to give it the image that it would be the same right now. So we are not going to do that, and we're not going to torture me that way. We're not going to do the torture thing. Alright, let me look at the pattern. That one goes there. So the piece that goes here is this. The finished size of the block. Andrea, am I allowed to tell the finished size of the block? And actually, it doesn't look like I have it on this page, so I do not have it in front of me, even if I am allowed to. Tammy, I think the die for AccuQuilt 50148 is 55009, but you can double check me. I definitely will. Yes, that's awesome. That's awesome. 55009. All right, disappearing ink. We're gonna try it. 55009. Okay. I can tell it. Okay. Let me see. Let's see if it's on the other pages. It's gotta be here somewhere. It gotta be here. Let's see. I may not have it. I may not have the finished size of the block. I have the finished size of the quilt. I do not have a finished block size. So it's whatever it comes out to be. Finished quilt size, as of right now, is listed as 85.5 by 85.5. And it is 6 blocks across, but there is also sashing. So Andrea, you may have to help me with that, because I do not have the size. It was not in here. And I do not math right now. I cannot, yeah, no, I cannot math. She says, hold on, let me look. Yeah, absolutely. All right. These are my flying geese that are going together. And I do web piece. So even though these pieces are not all lined up and laid out where you guys can see how it's going to fall, I don't need it to be for me. Like, that's not important for me. So you guys are seeing how I actually assemble. I will literally have a whole stack of stuff just sitting here, and I will pick through until I have what I need. I do not hesitate to do that. All right. And so this, and then we are looking at, yes, all right. Andrea is looking. We will have an answer for you here in just a minute, Linda. I hadn't even thought about it, so. All right. So the next piece is going to be this right here. So we've got our square, our half square triangle, and our flying goose is going next. And then we'll have another flying goose going in place. And we will actually be to the center block as well in this row. Yeah, this is actually how I assemble things, guys. When I don't have like a lot, I mean, if I had like 15 of these blocks, it would be a little bit more organized. But just assembling one block at a time, I am not that organized. There will be an organized video coming out. So, in case you wonder, I will be doing a tutorial for this quilt. And this is, again, my first block. This is not my tutorial for the block. You guys will get an actual tutorial that will be issued out once the pattern is released. I believe is when we're doing that. I don't know. Andrea can correct me if I am wrong. But yeah, we will issue that out later. But there will be a tutorial. I will have that. Finished size is 12 inches, says Andrea. So this will be a 12-inch finished block. So 12.5-inch unfinished. So it's a fairly good sized block. And it's going together beautifully. Araceli says that's a good size. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And you'll have 36 of them in this quilt. I'm going to take it down to 30 after I do the full assembly. I'll take it down to 30 to make it the size that I need for Quilts of Valor. but initially it's going to be the full size. All right. Next row about to go on. I'm going to lay this out so you guys can kind of see the pattern forming. You guys see the star in the middle coming out? I love doing the assembly this way where it's web pieced, because once I get the full block assembled, then I can look at it in its entirety before I press anything, and I can make sure that there's nothing in the wrong spot. There's nothing turned wonky or crazy. It still happens every so often. Like, I still miss something here and there. But I rarely do, because this is the way I tend to piece. I tend to web piece. So my entire block is in front of me at one point. So I can see if there's any issues and know what I'm doing. Now, if you do want to take an extra step, you can always sew everything where you are sewing with your flying geese point side up, like I was sewing the other day, to make sure that you do not lose your points at the center of your stars. But that is entirely up to you, a personal preference kind of thing. You can do it whichever way works better for you. We are almost there, guys. Almost there. Almost. Got one more row after this one, and we will be completely done. We just have to sew across the other seams, so we'll have a little bit of pressing, and then we will have our final seams. Alright, our last pieces are about to go on. How cool is that, guys? We have gotten an entire quilt block done in less than 2 hours, because I did start this. I started this a little bit before 6 my time, and it is now 7:11, so just over an hour or so is about what we're looking at for timing. And that is from starting every bit of sewing. Like, I did not pre-do any sewing. I didn't have anything pre-laid out. I just had everything cut for all 6 blocks that are going to be the same colorway. And this block is going together in an hour, and that is 1 block at a time. So all of these blocks together, when you start sewing, chain piecing and sewing a whole bunch of them all in one time, you're not going to be stopping as much as I had to stop. So you're going to be able to sew this a lot faster. And this is a fabulous pattern. Absolutely fabulous pattern. Gonna be so much fun. So much fun. And I think, did I turn my, yep, I turned my my water pieces. So we are going to see what I'm going to do. Yep, we're going to do it that way. Alright, last piece. So everything will be into this block, so we can kind of see how it's going to look. And we can make sure that I didn't sew anything in there the wrong direction. And then we can press and sew our final seams, guys. Alright. I am a canvas today. How do you like it? What you think? Andrea says, thank you, Tammy. That means a lot to me. I don't know what means a lot to you. I mean, it's just me. It really is a fun pattern. It really is. Alright. And there's no pressing instructions, so I will go the directions I want to go. And that's how we're going to do it. Alright. So I'm going to... Alright. We're going to go row by row. I'm going to go one direction on one row and the other direction on the next row. And that way I'll have some nested seams. I could press everything open, but I want a little bit of help nesting these seams. Joy says, very pretty. I agree. It came out gorgeous. It came out gorgeous. And it's not even completely done yet. we still have more seams to go. All right. Let me get that seam pressed. Now, one thing I'm going to do that I don't always do, because sometimes I am a glutton for punishment, but I'm not going to do it today. One thing I'm going to do is I've pressed these first 2 rows only. I'm going to go ahead and sew these first 2 rows so that I don't have them hanging off in my way at the ironing board. So we're going to go ahead and get these first 2 rows sewn, and then my next row I will press it the direction it needs to go, and then we'll keep coming back and forth. And that is, if you are a web piecer like I am, you know how it is where you want to press everything while you're at the ironing board. But when you have a block with a lot of different details in it, it can sometimes be easier to just go ahead and press one row or one seam line at a time, and then work from that one seam line, because that gives you a little bit more control over holding the materials and where your iron needs to go and all of that. So you're not spending as much time fighting at the ironing board. And I'm also working with a tiny ironing board. That's part of the problem too. All right, so that's first row. And so next row, it needs to go this way. So my rows are already assembled together, and I'm not clipping anything. I am just going one row at a time for pressing the seam allowances in the direction I want them to go. And I'm running out of steam in my iron, guys. Joyce says very pretty, and Candace says great job. Thank you, thank you. I think it's coming out gorgeous. And I am actually going to have to run tomorrow all the way to Cheyenne again. I don't know if you guys caught, but I had to drop off my wedding band when we were in Cheyenne last week or 2 weeks ago. Goodness, I've lost track of time, guys. I don't know. When we were last in Cheyenne and I picked up the fabric for the baby quilt, we were there for a couple of different things, and we stopped by the jewelry store that my warranty is through on my ring. We do not have a store for that company here in Casper. So I had to stop at the one in Cheyenne. And so I was going ahead and having them do a cleaning, which you get every like 6 months or so. And I had not gotten one, and I'd had the rings longer than 6 months because they were replacements for the ones I lost. And I had them look at it because one of the problems that I've been having is my engagement ring tends to hang on everything. So like a sweater or any kind of fluffy like batting, my ring definitely hangs on batting. Like it's bad. It's really bad. But I just kind of like put up with it. And so I had them clean the ring and look at the prongs to make sure I wasn't going to lose any stones, because that was what I was worried about. I was worried I was going to lose some of the stones in my ring because of the prongs, because I thought they were loose. No, they're just up too high. So they had to send my rings off to be polished together, because it's an engagement and a wedding ring set. And they also went ahead and did some engraving, because that was covered under the warranty as well. And they were also going to have to fix the prongs on my engagement ring. So we sent those off, and my husband got the call today that they are back. And while we could have them ship them to us from Cheyenne up to Casper, I mean, it's a 2.5 hour drive one way, and we could do that, or we can have them ship it. I'd rather make sure that I can get those picked up in person, and that way if there's a problem with the engraving or I'm not happy with something, then we're not out, shipping it back or taking it back to Cheyenne on yet another trip. So we are going to go down tomorrow to go pick up my wedding band, engagement ring, and then come drive straight back home. I have got to get more work done on my client's quilt, get it done. I've got to get more work done on this to get it done. And oh my gosh, I've also got my class tomorrow night. And then we've got our class starting on Thursday. So yeah, my schedule is full. My schedule is incredibly full. And I do not know why I keep doing this to myself. Does anybody know why I keep doing this to myself? Why I keep overbooking myself? If you have any ideas as to why I would do that, please let me know. If you are in my head and can figure it out for me, please let me know. Oh. So yeah, I will have my wedding band and engagement ring back tomorrow. I'm so excited. So excited. Been without it for about a week and a half. It's not been long. It's not been long, but it's still been long enough. So, all right, last seams being pressed out of the way so I can sew them down. And then we will press all those seams in one direction. And then we get to show and tell. You guys like when I do show and tell? Is it exciting when I do show and tell? Or is it only exciting when you guys are showing and telling? And I did come across the quilt that is part of the giveaway today. Or that is part of the giveaway for October 6th. The Sew and Tell giveaway quilt. I came across it when I was pulling the bobble quilt out. So you guys could see it. And I'm still in love with it. You guys are still going to be absolutely in love with that giveaway quilt. I think you'll be happy. Andrea says, I am excited. Right? I don't know why you would be excited about this. No idea whatsoever. Alright. We're almost to the end. I got 2 more seams to go over. I'm just making sure that they are nesting because I'm not using pins. I don't like to use pins. They get in my way. They slow me down. It's exciting to see all of your wonderful projects. Thank you, Rayanne. Appreciate it. You are such an awesome supporter. Thank you. All right, last seam sewn. All right, I'm going to swap you guys over to the main camera. Chloe says, sorry I've not been chatty. Still cooking sausage and peppers. You are fine. You are fine. Absolutely fine. I completely understand. All right. I'm pressing the last seam. You guys can't see it. I can't see the front. I'm just looking at the back. And it does look like we might... no. Nesting the seams is working. It's just there's some bulky spots. So we might want to look at pressing options. That might be the other thing, is pressing options. Alright, that's still going to need to go that way. So it's all the same way. Thankfully, these are sashed to, or these are put up to sashing. So I don't have to worry about bulky seams at the outside edges. But there are definitely some bulky seams inside. So that might be something we have to look at, is how the bulk is going to work. Alright. Alright, almost done. I don't usually use this big of a block, you guys. You guys have seen my blocks. They're usually tiny. The bobble quilt blocks will be big. You will need a full ironing board for them. I am in love. I am in love. And I will probably starch this later to kind of pull out the rest of the bulk and flatten it a little bit more. So pretty. So pretty. Alright. You guys ready? I know Andrea is sitting on pins and needles. And ignore the wrinkles in the middle square. They will come out. But there is my block, you guys. We'll bring it back here so it goes in the light. So it is very, very pretty. Laura says, sorry, heavy cold, but I'm back now. You're fine, Laura. You're fine. So this is our finished block. So the quilt will have 12 of these total. There will be 6 in this colorway, 6 in the blue colorway, and 6 in the red colorway. So this is the Star-Crossed Path quilt that Miss Andrea, Mama J Enterprises, has issued out. She is waiting for the testing to be done before she issues the full pattern. So yeah, this is one of the blocks. I am labeling mine block 2, I believe. Is this block 2 or 3? This is, as I throw stuff, this is block 3. So my red is going to be block 2. So there are a total of 6 blocks in there. There are 2 that are duplicated, so you get a red and a blue version of each of those blocks. And I do have directional fabric in here. If you see my medium blue out here at the corners, it is directional, but it doesn't matter which direction it goes. But so I will have to pay attention when I lay the rest of these out. The directional, I mean, it's going to change because the direction goes based off of these Flying Geese unit squares. So, but as long as I keep rotating the fabrics, I think it will look okay across the whole quilt. So I don't recommend directional fabrics for this unless you really feel like cutting directionals and dealing with that. But it is looking fabulous. Andrea says, woohoo, love it. Laura says that's going to be an awesome quilt, right? Right? So, yep, I got 1 and 12 done of these. And then I've got another block that's going to be the red and blue colorway, separate. And then we've got 2 other blocks that go in with it as well. So Andrea has designed that, and as soon as the testing is done, it will be available for purchase. And this is going into a Quilt of Valor. So we will have that issued out, or that will be awarded. I apologize, that will be awarded. But we'll do a photo shoot with this quilt top before I do all of that. So this will go out for that. I will be finishing up my client's quilt in the next couple of days, and we will be starting this on Thursday, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So those links will be going up this evening, as well as the retreat registration will be going up this evening, and the final information as to what you need to complete this quilt will be going up. So I will have the final measurements ready by Thursday morning. I don't have them yet, but I will have the final measurements, depending on what size you want to make, ready for you Thursday morning, along with the live going live. But I will have the dye information. I will verify if that dye is going to work. And I do still have it. It is very faint. It is air fading. So I will get that soon. So I will see you guys on Thursday morning. If I don't see you there Thursday morning, we will be live Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and you guys get to see where I'm at with everything, see what I've gotten completed, see how all this is going, and we'll have more information for you then. So I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for having me on your YouTube station tonight. So thank you. You guys have a great week until I see you again.